Yes, the teaching activity just cannot be done normally from a bottom to top position, from the lower angle to the upper angle. Because if it is some kind of a knowledge or an information, it has to pass on by somewhat like the principles of the gravitational force of the nature. It can only flow from a slightly top position to the lower position. And the one who delivers, one who gives away that information or knowledge has to have more in quantity than the one who receives it also. Then only it is supposed to flow from top to the bottom. Even if it is only small quantity, like a glass of water to be poured onto a big bucket of water, that glass has to be in a position above the big bucket of water. So teaching is somewhat like that. So the teacher has to assume a mental state which is above the audience, the students. So whether the audience is little children or elderly children in high school classes or in college, university classes or higher institutions are liable to continuously assume that mental state. Then only they can stand on that dais and talk to them. So doing this activity for several months and years, for a long number of years, that particular mental state becomes reinforced in them. Therefore, it is difficult or sometimes even seemingly impossible to change the mindset of a teacher. And especially what are the modern teachers? They have learned all the subjects for several years and they have been good at that. Most of them might have had first class or 60%, 70% and 80% marks. So already their mental makeup, that knowledge stack itself is rigid. On top of that, they have been trained in this everyday self-imposed, continuous, sincere, unconscious training given. Assume that posture of upness, one-upness. They become very impervious to any external influence in changing their attitudes, their mind setting, even their knowledge base in the context of a domain of subjects. So whatever efforts from the time of so-called great educational researchers like many others, whatever influences, whatever methodologies that have been identified to develop the competency of the teaching community to trigger and invoke the natural, spontaneous, creative potentials of children, all such approaches are very unlikely to work. Because they have to be, first of all, flexible in the stack of knowledge. Secondly, they have to be very flexible to be absolutely open to assume a nobody's position to become a trainer for children. It can, especially this evolving the competencies and the creative potential of children, it needs first of all training, not teaching, explaining the theories of something. So in more than one ways, training the teaching community, whether in schools or colleges or even in management institutes, I would say it's a very difficult possibility. Maybe less than 5%, that's all. Or there should be a program to make them sensitive to these details, make them liberate themselves from the blocks of that rigid mind setting, plus train them in competencies of identifying the uniqueness of children to interact on the basis of their individual differences in every child. That's the only way. Thank you.